Good night, everyone. Happy to have you guys here for our financial seminar. It's a service that, we love to provide to our community so that we can be empowered, not only spiritually and emotionally, and with Royal to Healthy Lifestyles, but that we can really take hold, of our finances and do finances God's way. So thank you so much for everyone who's here tonight. This will be recorded, but it's probably just going to be the speaker. So feel free to come on camera if you want, be engaged. We're going to have questions. Get your notepads, your pens, your journals, your iPhone, whatever it is that you have to take notes. And so I'm going to go ahead and introduce our wonderful guest speaker for tonight, Miss Kim Angela Lee. She is a speaker and author and a financial freedom coach who helps faith-based communities and women break free from financial limitations and live with purpose. Drawing from her own experiences of overcoming financial struggles and personal loss, she equips audiences with both practical strategies, which we need, and spiritual insight because they work together to bring lasting change. Her heart is to help people heal at the root, rebuild confidence, and walk in true financial freedom. So if everyone can put emojis in the chat, give little, hearts and fireworks, and as we just, you know, celebrate Miss Angela Lee and welcome her to share her wisdom with us tonight.
All right. I thank you so much for having me. I already feel a shift. I never heard that song. I've heard the words before. I'm sure we all have. But that song right there, to leave the 99 and for just one. And tonight we are that one. Let me share so you can see what we're talking about, and then let's see. Okay. We are that one. We have a screen, but we here are led by Holy Spirit. And I would like to start off with saying thank you. And this is God right here. Even how technically I met Abigail, that's how we're going to say it, because I never met her in person before. I happened to be in a Christian bookstore, and one of her brothers said, I don't even know how the conversation started. However, we got into a conversation. He says, I know somebody that's looking for you, pretty much. And here we are, about 2, 3 months later. And I'm excited about being here, imparting what I have learned, the journey that I have been through to get here. Because I just didn't get here. Let me tell you, I'm sure all of us has a story that we just didn't get here, but we're here. And whatever that story is that you have for someone else, it might not be on finance, it can be on something else, but God has a story for you. And when we're looking here at regaining confidence with God and money. And I'm thinking about that song we just heard, the 99. God left. I'm gonna use me tonight, okay? For the example that God left the 99 for me. And I think that yes, he left them for you too. And when I think about it, I was like, wow, God, I know I went through all of these things in my life. And as I was preparing tonight and just meditating on some things that I went through, and I was like, wow, God, broken again. That's where I was just thinking broken again, but I had to be broken again to be where I am today. And it broken again, relationships. I don't know how many of you been through some bad relationships. I was one of those. And a few times, okay? Hey, I'm just keeping it real. And I was broken. And in my brokenness, which probably some of you might lose your confidence. When you get broken, you lose your confidence. Some people lose their confidence in God because, like, God, where were you? That was the one. Didn't you tell me that was the one? At least that's what we thought we heard. Sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. However, the brokenness that we get and we lose our confidence with God and we lose our confidence with money because depending where you are when it comes to your relationship with money, it's like, well, I'm going to go spend it money on something else because now I need to heal from that brokenness. And so the place of where I've been broken and broken again, that's a little bit what we're going to talk about. And part of that might just be your story and how I had to regain the confidence that I needed to regain to be where I am today so that others can get free. If I had another title for this, depending, but I know that if y'all are in here, y'all know what I'm talking about. But has anybody heard of financial deliverance? And if you have heard of it, oh, okay. All right. How about this? Let me see. All this technical stuff right here. I'm trying to put the chat on the side and it's not liking me right now, but that's okay. So I get to see one hand. And that's what I feel that God has put me in this place to help to bring healing to those. And of course, mostly women. I do occasionally do married couples, pre-married counseling, but to bring healing to women because that's me. So how can I can relate to where you have been and where perhaps you need to go. So again, when we're looking at that confidence, it's something that we have to build and we have to regain and we have to figure out how we got there. And I think a lot of times we forget to go back to the beginning, and sometimes we have to. The beginning is messy. The beginning is a place was like, but God, you took me from there. But sometimes there's things that are lingering from the beginning that you need to pull up so they don't entangle you again as you're going into your future. Like I said, I have slides and stuff, but we already in the shift. And so tonight, when we're looking again at this confidence with God and money, I'm going to go back to my beginning. And my beginning, I got married when I was young, the first time. I'm just keeping it real. I got married because I thought it was the right thing to do. I had given my life to Christ. I did not have a foundation. Every this because it was new to me. I didn't know. I didn't grow up in church. I grew up Catholic, okay? I didn't grow up in the church thing. Even Catholic, I didn't go to church that much. And so I did not know. So you'd hear everybody, you get married, you get married. That's what they were doing. They were pushing the people to get married. And that's what I did. And I didn't know nothing about no marriage. I hardly knew myself. And there's things that just fell apart with that. I had two kids out of that union. However, there was a lot of things that needed to be developed in me that was not developed. Money, I didn't know nothing about money. When I was 18, you know what I got? One of my gifts was a credit card, 18 years old. Not knowing anything. I know I had to pay it. That I knew. And I had to pay it. And I worked that summer. When you graduate, I was 18 and also graduated from high school. And I went to spend, it was my birthday, right? And so I went swipe. And I didn't know there was no emotional connections to or not when you're swiping the card because you don't feel nothing. How many of y'all feel? I know we have a lot of millennials on here. They like to swipe. I like cash, y'all. Cash. I like cash. But y'all like to swipe. Do y'all feel it when you swipe? Come on. You do? Okay, because when I swipe, I don't feel a thing. I just swipe it and it just keeps on going. I'm like, okay, I don't feel anything. But when I spend my money, I be like, mm-mm, no, 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 mm-mm, no, no. I really don't. I don't. I purposely when I go to the bank, I get big bills. This is one of the smaller ones because I don't want to spend it, but I know I have to. But the whole point was at losing a marriage. I didn't have confidence in the marriage. I'm just keeping it real. I didn't have confidence in my relationship with God because I hardly knew God. I did what I thought I knew. And when it came to money, I'm gonna tell you, I probably was on the poverty level. Okay, I'm just gonna, at that point, two kids, a new marriage, one income, and it wasn't a big income. Okay, I'm telling you, I qualified for whatever was out there. I qualified for. That's what I'm saying. It was low income. However, that was my then. That's what I want to say. That was my then. And where I am now is where I want to, we're going to go on a journey to where I was, okay? And where I am now. And the other thing, when I'm thinking about the confidence, I didn't talk. So I surely would not have been before you or anybody else. I was not a talker. I don't know why. Why I didn't talk a lot, but that's where I was at that time. Again, this is in the beginning. I got married, I was probably, say, 21. So my financial journey began when I got that first credit card, swipe, 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 that I had to pay back. Because if I didn't pay it back, I could have, your parents would have been, they gave it to me. However, I just take my earnings, and that back then in the 80s, yep, that I'm sure yeah, way back then. If y'all, that was a lot of money, $500 that I'm gonna have to take now that I should have been using for college to go pay off a credit card because it was one of those I had to pay everything. It was at that time. And so that's where I am and was rather, and this is where we're going to move forward in the journey that we have on tonight. So I want to actually, what I want to start with is that first poll. We have a poll that if we can do that first poll. Oh, good, and I can see it. Awesome. We have a poll here, and of course, of course, it's talking about how confident are you with God and your money right now in this space today. Where are you? I want to get a feel of where we are today. Let's see. Do we trust God fully? Do we say we trust God, but then we feel anxious? Are we relying more on our paycheck, our hustle, or people than God? Or honestly, I never invited God into my financial decisions. Hmm. Okay. We're going to give it a few more seconds. I mean, these are some really great questions about, I mean, I have to think about where am I, even though my financial journey might be different than other people's at this moment, where do I stand? So I'm going to jump into this poll too. Let's see. Does it let me answer? Uh-oh. It's not letting me answer. Okay, I answer in my head then. For some reason, it's not letting me answer, but that's okay. Okay. We're gonna go. I'm not sure how many people we have on. What about 12 or 13? And we have two. We have less than half of the people, but we're gonna roll with it. We have so we're just gonna take the two highest right here. It says here, I fully trust God to provide and to guide my financial decisions. That is awesome. That is awesome. That's 33%. Let me say that. I don't know. Can you? I'm not sure if y'all can see the percentage. Can you? No, yes.
No, we can't see it on our end.
Okay, maybe if I end the poll, you can see it. I'm not sure how all of that goes. But I'm just going to say 20, now it's 29% say I fully trust God to guide me in my financial decisions. 63, up 67, still people are still voting. 67% says I trust God, but I still feel anxious about money. And then we have 11% says I rely on my paycheck, hustle, or people more than I rely on God. And I'm going to tell you that one that said that right there was, okay, I see what that one person, you know what? That's keeping it real right there. And that's being honest where you are with yourself. And that's a place where that could be a place, your now place, because we said where you are now, but that doesn't have to be your forever place. That's what I want to say tonight. That does not have to be your forever place. I'm going to go ahead and end that goal. So I'm going to try to, oh, there you go, share results. I got it. Now you can see the results. There's Thank you so much. Thank you. Like I said, thank you. I'm going to stop sharing because we're going to go back to talking, but this is real life here because some of us do feel anxious because, especially where we are right now, there's so many things going on around us or to us that we do not know. However, in our not knowing, we still have to trust God. I'm going to close that out. I think I shared already. We're going to stop sharing. I'm going to close it. I want to talk about that part of trusting God. Then we're going to move forward. I'm a dreamer. I'm going to say I had about, I'm going to say late last year or early this year, I had a dream about my job. I've been on my job now 20, July was 20 years at the same job, different positions. And in a dream, I saw that things were going on at the job that this one dream, there were people that were locked out. We couldn't get into the building. And I said, okay. And and in the dream, it wasn't that it was just the lower people. We had the people that were locked out, they were the bigger people, they were just all multiple. And I recognized a couple of the people. And so I had the dream and so months after, I don't remember how many months, it did come to pass that they started laying off people and they didn't, it wasn't about the low people. They were, I mean, the big wigs, they were laying off. And the little people, in a sense, y'all know what I mean, just different levels of people. But in that place, I had a dream. God showed it to me, and I had to trust God. Even in that, I had to trust God and say, God, I was one of the people standing outside waiting because we didn't know. We did not know. The people that I did recognize in the dream, they they are still there with the company, but they had they haven't my job, I've been there 20 years. This is like the first time in a sense that I've seen something as massive as this. So again, when we took that poll, that's real life there. When I talk about the uncertainties and we have to have confidence with God, I mean, God showed me something, but I knew to pray and that we're here, woman heal, right? Women heal. So we're here, and this is a faith-based community. So we pray and we trust God, and that's something that I have to continue to do. When they were telling me that I wasn't going to get no raises this year, that's what they were saying. When I say my boss said, well, I just want to let you know we have to move you back to your old, the short version. I'm saying this because it's about building confidence in God. And my boss told me that, well, we're going to move you back to your old position because pretty much you're no longer needed in that position. And because you're already maxed out in the old position for what the range is, you're not going to get no raise. That's it. So when everybody else got their raise, I didn't get no letter, no nothing, at least for that moment. That's what they said. God had other plans. Since then, what they said, I wasn't getting a raise. I got 3 raises since then. And I'm saying that putting my trust in God, they said, nope, you don't qualify no more. You're maxed out, and that's that. And I'm like, okay, I said, God knows what's going on here. And I had to still trust him. When every day they said everybody else was gonna get this and get that, and I'm done, nothing else for you. So I'm just saying this because we have to continue to trust God. Even then, we don't know what's going on. We know a lot of government jobs are getting shut down, okay? And it trickles down, and we see what's going on in our economy. But are we trusting God? When COVID came, it shifted, as we know, our world, and our world will never be the same with that. But in some of those things that needed to change, are we trusting God? Are we having our confidence in God? When they were going around furloughing people, perhaps one of your jobs got furloughed. I didn't get furloughed, but they decreased our pay. They They decreased, they sent us home. Take your stuff. You're gonna be working from home, fine. And listen, they were working us, okay? Working us, okay? They got every nickel, dime, penny, half, they were working us. However, they furloughed a lot. Some people furloughed, the other people that they, took some of their money, said, "Hey, we're going to take 10%, whatever." But God, I'm saying this because God is God. The confidence in God, God is faithful. Yes, I know people lost their jobs, but I right now I could just say in that time when I was on the other team, they shift me to the other team, but they kept my pay. Because if they would have not shift me to the other team, then I would not have had I would have been furloughed at home, not getting any pay. So I'm just saying how God maneuvers things when they say, and I know that we have hard times and we don't know, well, what are we going to do next? Again, confidence with God and money. Was I confident when I had my two little kids and I had to go up to the church in order to get some food? I'm just being real life here. Right there, I had lack of confidence. But guess what? I had two kids. They need to eat. So yes, I went and had the spaghetti dinner. I listened to their sermon. And then afterwards, they gave me a bag of food. Okay. Hey, I was in those places. So I'm just showing from where I was to where I am, and that you can be in that place too, that your place where you are right now, if you are having financial challenges, it's not your forever place. Okay? And don't let nobody tell you that. And don't let yourself tell you this is my forever place, because if we're saying that we are believers and we're trusting God, and get what, God came back, he left the 99. That was the song from the beginning. He left the 99 and he came back for the one, and the one is you. I need you to think of yourself that I am the one. Maybe you even need to repeat that. I am the one that God came back for. Come on. I am the one that gave. Come on. I'm not get young. I am the one that God came back for. Even in my financial distress, I am the one that God came back from. You, I'm talking to you because you're the one. I'm saying for myself because I want you to say for yourself that you're the one that God came back for. He sees the times that you were in distress. He sees when you went to school and that's how you ate because you went to school. God sees all of that and he knows that. But God wants to change your situation around. Wherever you are, I was there. I was there. I was there. Oh my goodness. I was on that I don't even know if there was a poverty line back then. I'm sure there was, but I'm just saying I don't know. I was under it, okay? But God, even in that, God, listen, God showed me how to make beans, okay? Way back then, because beans were cheap. He showed me how to make beans because those beans are gonna fill up your stomach. Okay, I don't know who likes beans here, or if you don't, guess what? It's gonna fill your stomach up if you don't like it or not. Okay, guess what? If I was to go into my cupboard right now, guess what? I got jars of beans, different kinds. I like beans, but back then it wasn't because I liked it. It was because it was a necessity, and that's what they gave you. Guess what? And that's what I took. And I learned out of it. And you know what? My grandmother taught me how to put some of that together. Because some of those your grandmas, they know how to make it stretch, okay? So we have to learn and we have to grow. And we have to grow sometimes along with you're growing in God, you're growing in your finances, you're growing in your relationships. It's just not just in one spot. I guess I better get to my slides, huh? I'm all like I said, when once y'all played that song, everything shifted for me. But we're still talking about confidence in God and money because we need to gain or regain because sometimes we could be at a good spot. And the good spot that I was at in 19 something, 96. I moved from Washington State. I'm thinking it was a good spot at that time. I moved from Washington State with my two kids in a rented van with everything I could fit in there, and I drove from Washington State. Anybody know where Washington State is? Yep, on top of California, all the way over there. Does anybody know what South Florida is? Sure. And down. Yes, that was my drive. I went down, I went across, and then I went down. That was my drive. That was my survival mode. I got to South Florida in 2.5 days. I was in survival mode. And I was going to say the weapon that I had a little, you know, those iron skillets? I had it underneath my seat. That was my weapon. I've been saying I was on a mission. I was on a mission because I was not in a good place. I wasn't in a good place with God. I'm just gonna be real. I was doing some things I shouldn't have been doing, but God rescued me. Even in the mess I was in, He rescued me. I drove across, I drove down, and I went to stay with my dad, my natural dad. He rescued me. I was that one naturally that God was rescuing out of that situation, drove me over 3,000 miles to get to my daddy, the natural daddy. Sometimes I'm gonna say at that moment he was my savior. If you understand what I'm saying, God is my savior, but he was taking me from a place, say, come here, take your kids, come. And so I came broken. I came, oh my goodness, confidence. There was no confidence in God, no confidence in money, but I had a desire. And my desire, I just knew I was coming here, that I was going to get this job and I was going to land it and I was going to be, it didn't work out like that. I did get a job, but it was working in a factory. Not what I planned. I thought I was going to be at an office, sitting at a desk. It it didn't work that way, but it was okay. And I'm saying that in that time that I had a do-over. How many needs a do-over in here? I needed a do-over. And that was my opportunity at a do-over. And part of the do-over is that I started dealing with my finances. I didn't know nothing about my finances. All I know was that there were some things that I had on my credit report that did not need to be there because it was not good, you know. Those times when those things sneak up on you and you didn't pay it because you couldn't afford it, but you bought it anyway. Or that other thing where I let somebody use my credit card and they wasn't responsible because they didn't know how to be responsible and things just kept on piling up. And then I'm like, if I didn't pull my credit record, I wouldn't have knew. I'm like, what happened here? Oh, they didn't know when to pay it. They didn't realize, there's a cycle. And sometimes the cycle and the times it changes. They didn't even know that. So I began to pay on these things that were on my credit report that was not good. And I don't even know why I was doing this. I'm just going to be honest. I don't know why I was doing this. However, I did it. And I was almost through. I had just a little bit more left. Almost through. Then I got myself into a relationship. And the short version with all that relationship, I became broken again. I took on a lot of debt. And it reminds me of the scripture in the Bible where it says that, once you you clean out the house, you need to fill it up. Well, really, you fill it up with the word, you fill it up with fasting and praying. I wasn't filling it up. And guess what? When I say it came back, the debt came back with a vengeance. It came back with a vengeance. And guess what? Confidence gone again. confidence, and I really believe when I really get down to the root of it, I believe that my confidence was in man. I'm keeping it real because some of y'all might be here. In man, as in my ex-husband, and not God. My confidence was in him. I let him do, yep, yep, whatever you, yep, yep, yeah, 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 like that. And when I think, I had to really think about it, and I didn't come to that realization until after it was broken. That wow, I was really putting you, the man that, oh God, you gave me that man because God gave me that man. I don't know how many of y'all said that God gave him to, he was saving him just for me. Because who would have wanted me? Two kids, a broken, I was divorced, and had some other things going. Who would have want? I'm just saying. But God, you gave me him. You know, God gave me him. That's what I said. And honestly, to tell you the truth, if anybody was asking me that today, I would still say that God gave me him, but I believe it was the wrong timing. I believe it was the wrong timing and things just fell apart. And in a sense, borderline, I'm gonna say really everything he said, it was like gold. So he was my idol. You understand what I'm saying? He was my idol because he rescued poor me. And instead of letting God finish the work in me. We're still talking about money because guess what? Like I said, I got into a lot. I owed the IRS, car note, I had a little bit of student loan, credit cards, max out credit cards, creditors calling the house. I was worse off than I was before. That's where I wound it up in this relationship that was broken again. And sometimes when we're in these kind of situations, I'm going to call it, you don't see it. You don't see clearly. You're blinded. And I was blinded. But guess what? Even in my blindedness, if that's even a word, but God. And that's where grace came in. And when I look at the word grace, that is one thing I do have on my slide. Is grace. And when I look at grace, let me see if I can click it and let y'all see where we're gonna go. We'll get to another poll later, but I want to get to here, grace. I came as I was preparing grace. That was the framework. Guess what? Because we're making our way back. We're going to the path where God is. And part of that is back to confidence. Part of that is the place where we need to grow. And I thought of a plant. A plant starts with a seed. Okay? When you take a seed and I don't have no plants inside. They don't last very long. However, we're going to pretend today. How about that? We're going to take a seed and we're going to plant a seed. Guess what that seed needs? It needs nurturing. It needs watering. Some people talk to their plants. I don't know if that works, but that's what they say. They talk to their plants. There's a pruning. Think about that. There is a times that plant needs pruning. Guess what? Just like you might need pruning. And guess what? Maybe some of those purchases you're making is going to need some pruning also. That they're in the growing, we have all these processes, and these processes help you to be able to get to your financial growth because you're growing. It helps you gain the clarity that you're looking at. It's steps that you have to take. The next one is resilient. Oh, when I think about that word resilient, I think about running a marathon. If any of you ran a marathon, a half a marathon, a 5K, anybody? No? I don't get to see all the people, so forgive me. When I think about um, the resilience, I think about the marathon. And part of the preparing for a marathon, it's a journey. There's things that you have to do. I mean, you have to lay out a plan. And that's the same thing with your finances. You have to lay out a plan. And even in that, you have some setbacks. And it's real. As I was preparing for my run, as I was going out there and I was running and I was running, and then I fell. That was my that was my setback for the moment. That's what I would like to say. It was my setback for the moment because I scraped up my knees. I was bleeding, and some stranger, yes, a stranger, I let a stranger, I did, because my knees was hurting. I let a stranger drive me down back home. I had to get home. I was in pain. However, even with that, guess what? I got back up. I got back out there and I continued my training. And when it was got harder, when it got hard, I kept on going. And sometimes we have to be strategic when we know that things are getting hard. Maybe in your relationship, it's getting hard. In your finances, it's getting hard. In your workplace, it's getting hard. When things are getting hard, where are you getting your confidence from? Are you going to a friend? I hope that friend is leading you back to Christ. Are you going to God and saying, God, this is where I am, and it's hard right now. I don't know what to do. I feel like giving up because I'm sure we've all been at that place that we just feel like giving up because the resilience that we need to have is really not there because of setbacks, because of life, or because, I thought I would have been further along than where I am now. But those setbacks, COVID setbacks, relationship setbacks, money setbacks, loss of a child setbacks. I mean, loss of a relationship. I mean, we can go on, but we have to get that resilience that's inside of us because I really believe it's inside of us. Because as we take the word seeds are planted inside of us that we just need to grab onto those scriptures. And the scriptures look right, simple. This is, I mean, you don't even have to know where it is, okay? But here, we got help right here. Philippians 4 and 3, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. We cannot rely on ourselves because relying on ourselves, guess what? I fell. And guess what? I fell again. Yes, it happened again. I fell again. But I got back up. And when it was hard, I got strategic. When I was running the marathon, when I got to about the 18th mile, I strategically told somebody beforehand, I'm calling my cheerleaders. I said, can you be at this area? I didn't know it was going to be that hard at the 18th mile, but I asked them to be at that area, and they were at that area. And it was hard. I'm gonna tell you the truth, but guess what? They were there. And it was, come on, come on. And I was able to get through those next 6 miles until I got to my end, to my finish line. So even with your resilience, you still need people in your corner. That's what I'm trying to say to you. And you still need to hold on to God's word. And these days we can Google it. We need the scriptures. We can Google it. We can write it down. But we have to recognize, well, guess what? This is where I am, but this is not my staying place. Yep, I fell, but I'm gonna get back up. I'm gonna keep pushing until I get to my finish line. And we have to realize that there's some things that we need to deal with within ourselves. Why are we giving up? Why do we have lack of confidence? What happened? I'm just saying, but we're gonna move forward. I'm looking at the time. Action right here. I love this part right here. Action. When I look at action is movement, okay? If you have to take action, it is moving. You are moving from one place to another. Taking action is realizing, wow, I am spending like this because XYZ. There's some that are spending because, yeah, I had a broken relationship, and guess what? It's gonna make me feel better. You're taking the wrong action right there. It's going to make me feel better because I'm going to go buy me some new clothes because it's going to make me feel good. But the real issue is that you need to deal with that hurt because that hurt is making you spend. It's not about the spending, it's the hurt. That's the root right there. So we got to get to the root of the matter and we got to deal with that hurt. That's it. It's not about the clothes. It's not about go get another ice cream. It's not, oh, I'm gonna take myself to dinner. Guess what? I tried that. It didn't help. I'm just real life. It didn't help. I might have went to my favorite place, but that's where it ended until I started dealing with, oh, I see. I see why I'm really hurting right now. I feel rejected. Wow, I didn't know that. I thought, man, I'm good. I don't need him. I'm just saying, I don't need that. Or I don't need that job. No, no, I don't need that either. Until we start dealing with those roots, we're going to stay in the same place. And what we should be doing, making movement, we're actually not making movement in the right direction because action is movement. And we should be moving forward in action, making the right choices. And I want y'all to say this because I love this part right here. Y'all can repeat after me. Matter of fact, y'all can unmute. How about that? You can unmute and we're gonna say together. You ready? We're gonna say right there. Action between dreams. Action is, oh goodness, I'm okay. Action
Action
is.
is
Oh, see,
Action
I'm
is
gonna action is the
Is the
bridge,
bridge
okay?
action is the
Between our
bridge
dreams and
action is the
between
bridge.
our
reality. Okay, we're
dreams and
gonna say it one more
reality.
Is the bridge
time.
between dreams and reality.
Action
Action
is
Is
is the
the
Action
the
is
bridge
bridge
the bridge
between
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 dreams
dreams
dreams and
dreams
dreams
and
reality.
and
reality.
reality.
Action is a
That
bridge
means we have
between
to do
dreams and reality.
something.
Sigue,
Thank you. Yeah, that means we have to do something. We have to move. How many? I know we all have dreams. Dreams maybe for a bigger house. Dreams maybe if you're not married to get married. Dreams to have children. Dreams that maybe you want to go deeper. I know that's one of my dreams, man. I just want and it's not just the same because it sounds good. It's just like, come on, God, I need more of you. I want my relationship to go to the next because I know there's more. Where I am is, I'm not saying it's bad, but I know there's more. That's a dream. My dream, I was thinking, I am maturing and there's things that I want to do for my family. You know, I want them to be free too, financially speaking, and in other areas. So I think about these dreams, but we got to put movement to the dreams. We have to take action. I'm going to move forward because confidence. Okay. When we're thinking about confidence, again, we know that the confidence that we need, the confidence that we gain is from Christ. Yes, we get it from other resources. However, the Bible, the Bible, can y'all see this right here? Right here. This is a Bible. And this Bible right here, it's called the Financial Stewardship Bible. And this is a Bible, but when you go inside here, if you see green, anything green's about money. Look at all that green right there. Let's see. Look at that. This is a Bible. These are all scriptures. Okay? This is the Bible. But everything in this Bible that is green is talking about money. This is where our confidence comes from. You want to know about money? It's good to have people teach also, but I'm just saying the scriptures are in here. Read your Bible, people. Read your Bible. The scriptures are in here. I mean, it goes on, and maybe we don't understand it all, but that's why we ask God for revelation, that He would give us the revelation that we need when it even comes to the scriptures. So the things that we make, decisions that we make, that we will base them on the Bible. We thought that was just a song for the little children, but it's for us in this real time, living today. Does it line up with the Bible? Does co-signing line up with the Bible? Okay, anybody want to answer that one? Okay, I'll answer it for you. I don't remember the scripture right now, but pretty much is saying a fool co-signs. That's what it says in the Bible. I'm not saying that. I'm saying what the Bible says. So we need to think about some of the decisions that we're making because we need to gain our confidence with God in the money. One way is through the Bible. That's how we're gonna do. We're gonna judge what we do by what would God say about it. Remember they used to widow's breakfast? What would God do? What would God do? It's just something to think about when we're talking about regaining confidence with God and money. Empowerment. When we look at empowerment, we're putting it all together. Okay. We're putting the grace together. We're putting the growth, the resilience, the action, the confidence, empower. We empower ourselves. When I think about empowerment, I think about strength. When I think about strength, I think about this right here. This is a little strange weight, but it's a weight and it's 3 pounds. The other one was a little too heavy, so I left it on the floor. But this right here, when I go, I am building resilience. I am getting empowered because now I'm stretching my muscles. And it's not just about stretching the muscles when the muscles have to break down, right, to be able to build back up. And that's what happens when you empower yourself. You're strengthening yourself, saying, okay, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can move forward. I can win. I can win because I'm doing one thing. I'm growing. I'm taking in the knowledge. I'm taking in the information. I am being empowered with this. And I'm trying to do and apply what I have learned. And there's so many things out there when it comes to learning. We have apps that we can use. We have apps, budgeting apps that we can use. We have, goodness, YouTube. I mean, you name it. But I want to say something about when we talk about empowerment, that empowerment is not just for us. Empowerment is for others. And when I was paying off my house, I told few of my friends that what I was doing, and they said they were going to do it too. I'm like, come on. So now I got a company of people that said, we're going to do this. And you know what I had to do? I had to, I took a piece of paper. I took a piece of paper and I folded it into squares. And it might have been, I'm just guesstimating. It could have been 12, 16 squares. So I folded it into squares and I opened it back up and I took a crayon. Yes, I did. That at the moment, that's what was available. I know I got marked at that time. So I took a crayon and I started marking in each box. This is how much extra, because I had a vision. Okay, we're gonna get to that. That's next. Um, so each box I put the amount extra I want to pay on my mortgage. And then I just put whatever the numbers was. I'm saying it could have been 12. I'm thinking it was 12, 12, 16, somewhere around there. So every month I was paying extra, then extra. And I would mark, I would like, oh yeah, come on, we going. Look, mark it off, did that one. All right. Mark it off, did the next. So I did that. And I took it and I put it somewhere where I put it on my door. I put it on my door where my closet was, where I had that. In that time, I was going into the office to go to work. So I know I had to go to this door to be able to get my clothes to put on. So I would see it before me. So that's Habakkuk, right? Write the vision and make it plain. I put it before me. And when I put it before me, I was able to see it and I was able to conquer it. And I'm saying this under empowerment. We'll get back to this, is because that's how I empowered myself and to be able to see, okay, I got a destiny here. And the destiny was not just for me. We have to think about when we're going through this grace and we're going to get free, we're moving that action, we're moving to the other side, that it's not just about us. It's very little to do with you, to tell you the truth. It might look like it because you're putting in the work, but it's not, because I paid off my house. I had a mortgage burning party. Now others could see, oh wow, this can be done. You see, it wasn't about me. It was about now I don't have a mortgage payment. What else can I do now? Like, how much seed needs to be sown? How about if somebody needs something and you could just give it to them? It could just be some, it could just be your light bill. Somebody needs their light bill paid and they're dire, or other situations that happen, and you can say, "Here, let me just take care." You don't make a big deal about it. You just agree, "Here, I can help you." So when it comes to this empowerment, it's not just about you. When you get to that point, whatever you're doing, it's not just about you. It's about others that some are gonna go on the journey with you, but some of them are gonna be in your path that you're gonna have to come across because you have something for them. So I want you to remember that it's about legacy. And do you know you have to fight when it comes to legacy a lot of times? When you're trying to leave a legacy, and it could be different things. It could be a financial legacy. Um, you can be we want to leave legacy. Some people are really healthy. They want to be into health. They want to be well. There's some people, of course, we want to leave the legacy for that our families members know Christ. Definitely. Wouldn't you like your families to be a family that we know if I go over there, those people over there, that family name, they can get some prayer through, right? Or if you need anything, they're gonna feed you. So just something to think about. And again, this confidence, it wasn't about the money, really. Because God, there was some no's in there. I didn't can't give you the whole story, but there was some no's. There were a lot of no's. And no is a powerful word. There were a lot of no's, and people said, "Hey, you want to do this?" And I said, "No." Because guess what? Had my paper, had the vision before me. This was my vision, and I was going to do this. I was going to do this because honestly, I felt like I was behind. And do you feel like you're behind? So like behind, I felt like I was behind. Like, man, my retirement. I didn't know a lot about that because I didn't, but I know I needed to do something. I didn't have the full picture, but I know I needed to do something. And it started with this piece of paper. But through the journey that, I gained when I really began to see the things that I put idols again. That was some people's idols are their jobs. And then we have to go back to the why. We have to go back to the root. Why are you a hoarder? I'm just saying, something to think about. Because there's a root behind you being a hoarder where you feel like I gotta have all of this stuff. During COVID, we had a lot of stuff, some of us, because they said, oh, buy up this, buy that. So I had a garbage can, but it was just for food. I brought a garbage can just for food. When COVID was over, a lot of those cans expired. So we have to think about, why do we operate like that? I'm not saying it was all a wise decision. Some of it was, but why do we operate in fear? That's another root. We have to, why? Why are we doing it? Why are we not trusting God? That God's going to take care of it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have any little, I live in South Florida, but we pray them away. We pray the hurricanes away. Every now and then they slide through. And so we do need to have some things on hand, but I'm talking about to the extreme, that where you're not really trusting God. And so you have to deal with that. So if I'm dealing with fear, financial fear, where did that come from? And you need to go wherever that is. And I know some of it might be touchy because I don't know how many of you ever came home and there was no lights on. When you got home, you were a kid, there were no lights, and you had to improvise, or you had to do some things different because mom just like, this is how it was. It might have not been that for long. It could have been overnight, but it was real life. So now you have that fear. If I don't get this, if I don't get that, and I don't have it now, I might wind up like when I was a kid and I came home and there was no food in the refrigerator. So now I buy so much food that it's expiring. So those are some things that we have to deal with even when it comes to our finances, because it transfers over that fear from our child to our spending now, how we operate. It's some things that we have to deal with in its real life. I'm going to take a pause for the cause because I know I've been saying a lot, and we have another section, the practical section that we need to go into next. And I'm want to see if we had a couple of polls that I kind of skipped over because like the things shifted, but um I want to see if we can bring up any of the polls. Do we have poll number 4? Okay, which one is this one? Okay, we have a poll. Okay, this one says, how confident are, this the one that no, we did that one already.
Yeah, depending on your screen, you have to scroll or click next.
Oh,
So it
okay.
depends what
Oh,
device you're
okay.
using.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm learning tonight, y'all. Okay, so number 2, the question number 2 is when it comes to money, what do you find yourself trusting the most? Do you, my job, my paycheck, or my business income, my ability to work harder or to figure it out, my advice from mentors, friends, family, or are you trusting God's promises, even when it doesn't make sense? That right there, whew. All right, we're gonna wait because we only have a couple of people that has answered that one. It seems like God's promises. We got quite a few people, even when it doesn't make sense. That is where we need, and I'm not gonna, I know I haven't always been there, okay? I have not always been there. However, when I was going through the financial journey, I began to learn how to trust God. When I discovered that I want to be financially free, that's when I learned how to trust God. And I'll give you an example of that. I, when the time I was getting the process of getting out of debt, my air conditioner unit, the central air, it broke. And I live in South Florida, y'all. It broke, and I don't remember what I'm thinking it was getting close to the summer months that it broke, and I didn't have money to buy a new unit. And at the time, I decided that I wasn't going to because I didn't have the money. Well, and I didn't have the money, and I didn't have no cards to put money, a unit on anyhow. So that was knocked out. The thing that I could afford was fans. So we had fans for a whole year. Matter of fact, I still have, I still have those fans. I don't use them, but I still have them. However, I was trusting God that no, that I wasn't going to go backwards while I was moving forward. And at the end of about a year, I guess God saw that he can trust me because I was trusting him, and money came in the mail. And that money was enough to pay for a unit without the whole thing. And so part of trusting God, y'all answered correctly, the ones that even though we don't understand, because how about if it would have kept me in debt longer, okay? And then I wouldn't be able to tell you this testimony. All right, we're gonna do one more poll, then oh, somebody, okay. Oh, y'all are going through all the polls. Okay, I got it. I got it. I'm learning something new. Thank you for your patience with me. Okay, cool. We're just gonna do one. When setbacks happen, what is your first response? I already gave you mine right there. I mean, when setback, okay, you know what? I'm gonna close the poll so I can see y'all. I like brownies. I'm gonna keep it real. I like brownies. When setbacks, I've gotten better. I'm just gonna say, In the past, I've gotten better. When setbacks happens, I eat brownies. And I'm saying that because it's real life. Okay? Some people eat other things, or some people got to get a man, or some. I'm just saying, when setback happen, people get a drink, you know. But then we have when setback happens, they go to God, and we know that's the proper order. But I'm just gonna say this time, I had to reevaluate this and figure and know for myself, like, oh wow, why when I get upset or something happens that I go for a brownie? I love brownies. I make them like a people know me. I'm the brownie queen. However, it doesn't mean that that needs to be my vice. My vice, if you want to call it, needs to be God, not a brownie. So I'm just keeping it real. We're going to move on to the next session because I want y'all to really, even though we have the spiritual part of it, which we need the spiritual, but we also need the practical. It's like the spiritual and the practical collide with each other. And I would like to know, I'm trying to see how I can see all y'all at one time. I'm changing my view. All right. Wow. I would like to know if you want to show your faces, how many of y'all have a vision? How about that? And I mean, a lot, you have a vision. Do you have your vision written down? Okay, oh, you could hand raise. Okay, thank you for saying that. Hey, you can raise your hands because I know some of you are not showing your face, which is okay if you have a vision and you have it written down. Awesome. Awesome. So I see quite a few. And why I'm saying this, because we're going to get down to the practical part of this right now, because it's already after 9. We want to get the practical part is the vision board. And you can't, let me see, right behind me. Let's see. I'm trying to turn it just a little bit so you can see. Right there, that's the vision board right here. See me? I'm just putting it there. So that's right there. You can't see it, but this is a vision board right here behind me. And your vision board might be that piece of paper that you have with you, or maybe your tablet that you open up a blank piece of page, and that's going to be your vision board for tonight. And when we think about the vision board, this is my new way because it sounds like fun, right? Doesn't the vision board sound like fun? Has anybody been to a vision board party? I've been to a vision board party too. And I'm trying to think of where it's at right now. However, I don't have the board anymore. I'm past that, but the vision board party, we're gonna do this a little bit different. I told you about my one vision, right? Of paying off the house. That was my one vision. I just want you to think about a vision that you might have and if it's tangible, like maybe you want a new car, a new house, a new wardrobe, vacation, cruise. I want you to think about that. And if you can't draw it, just write it down. My vision is, oh, you know what I would like? And I know, but it's a God vision. For me, it's a God vision because on my cars, I pay cash. I save up and I pay cash. So it's a God vision. I would like a Lexus SUV. That's my God vision. And for some, y'all might say, ah, that's nothing, but that's what I want. I don't need nothing big and fancy. I think that's good enough. What do you think? That's my vision. So I will put that vision on my board. Now, the other thing, so put down the vision that you want, just think about it. But the other vision I want you to put down is your budget. Yeah. We're changing that. Yeah, we're changing a budget is like, oh, budget, a 6-letter bad word for some people, right? And so we're going to change it to vision because vision is 6 letters also. Look at that. We're going to change the vision because you need to see where your money is going. Because if you don't, it's just gone. I mean, just to be real, we cannot have our bank accounts tracking our money. Just think about that, because some people, that's what they do. The bank account, well, I just could print up what they got there. Is it really true? How do we know the bank ain't stealing from us? How often do you check your bank account or bank accounts? Because we all should have more than one. Even if we just have a little, we should still have more than one. Because you can have a savings account, you can have a checking account, you can have a business account. They don't supposed to be intermingling. I just want to say that, but it's important that we have a vision and we budget, put it before us because we need to see. This is the practical part. Yeah, we talked about all of that stuff and it was all fun, right? Now we get down to the real deal with our vision board. And we really need to know how many of you know how much money is coming in? Do you really know how much money is coming in? Thank you for the honest ones. I didn't always know. And part of it I didn't always know at that time, especially when I was a spouse, I let them handle it. I didn't take care. I don't want to. I wasn't being a helpmate. I just like, no, you take care. Yep. Whatever you say, I believe. I got just being honest, and that's not good. I'm just gonna say if there's anybody like that here, that's not good. Y'all need to work together. However, the ones that are not, regardless, you have to have a budget. Let's get down to it. We have to have a budget. You have to have it because it's a plan. That's all it is. It's a plan. And guess what? Everybody else is planning for your money. Think about it. I went into the store in August. They already have their Christmas stuff up. In August, y'all. August. They They had, okay, I'm going to say they did have Thanksgiving, but the Christmas aisles, I was in Hobby Lobby. There were more Christmas aisles than Thanksgiving aisles. Okay. So that's telling me they have a plan for your money. Am I correct? When they lure you with those coupons, I like coupons, but they lure you. Come on, come on. They lure you with those lure. Okay, they are luring you with those coupons. Come spend it with me. It's okay that you don't have it. You get a 50% off coupon. Come. They're luring you. Oh, see, we getting ready to see, I'm trying not to stay out of the spiritual, but I feel it. They're luring you. That's the truth of the matter. All those ads we keep on seeing on social media, we're going down the highway. Now they have the digital ads. So before you would see one stationary ad, two, three. Now it's changing every few seconds. They are luring you because they want your money. So these businesses have a plan for your money, but you don't. Just think about it. Do you know that, just say November, you're going to spend extra money in November? Mostly people do. Some people travel, they go be with family. Some people say, I'm going to cook dinner this at my house, but I can't really afford it, but I'm going to do it anyway. And so now you're spending extra. Not that it's bad. I'm just saying this is the reality. But if you don't have a plan for it, if you don't know that when your taxes in Florida comes, if you pay them in November, you did a discount instead of waiting until January when it's due. Did you know that? They give, yep, on your house, there's taxes. If you pay them earlier, they give you, it's a little bit, but guess what? It all adds up. They got a plan for your money. What about you? Are you paying attention? That's something that you really need to think about. Are you paying attention? For those that pay attention to birthdays, this is September. When I was doing my vision board plan, I have a section that says gifts. Because those are the things we don't think about. We know the mortgage is coming out, the car payment, the car insurance, the electricity, but I don't know how many of us think about gifts. I do. Gifts. Gifts is a category. Not talking about tithes and offering, because that's another category, but gifts. So September I have, oh goodness, my aunt's birthday, my brother's birthday, my dad's birthday, my sister's birthday, Oh, my good friend, she's over 30 something years. I had to show some love. Okay. So that's 5 birthdays. That's not including sometimes, we just gonna leave, That's 5 birthdays. So I'm sitting there I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give this to this person. That person, they just get a card. I'm just saying. You gotta prioritize, right? My dad he already put his request in. My dad's gonna be 81 in next Friday. He put his request in, okay? So what am I supposed to do with that? Yeah, so I'm saying this because I want you to really think about the things that we miss when it comes to your planning. Because again, you have the standard things, but then if you have kids that are in school, kids, oh my goodness, they're always having something in school where they want you to bring something in. It's somebody's birthday. Think about it seems like my grandkids almost every weekend they're going to a birthday party. So you know what that means? I mean, I'm not paying for it, but that means they got to bring a gift. So these are things that we have to plan for because then you're wondering, why am I short? Why is my money not going where I think it needs to go? Because you're missing items, real life items that we don't think about. Do you think about when I'm not going over the practical because I said those few that but I want you to just stop and think. And if you don't remember what you can do, go to last month if you have a plan. I hope you do. Or you can go to it's not ideal, but go to your checking account and look at it. This is what came out last month. Or maybe go back to next year this time in September. Oh, I forgot my birthday was in September and now I have to pay. Oh, those car stuff is due, right? You got to re-register your car. It's due because it's your birth month. Do we think about that? I'm just saying, a lot of people don't. It just comes up on like, oh my goodness, I gotta go. No, we can't let those things dictate us. We have to take control of our finances, and that's part of it. So, really, this part is practical, but I just want you to think. I want you to stop and think of where you are. You know that what's the next big thing? That those that celebrate Christmas is coming up, and people like to buy gifts. They like to buy gifts for themselves. They like to buy gifts for others, or sometimes people like to donate to charities during that time. Plan it out. That's all I'm saying. Plan it out. Put it in it. This month, yes, I know I'm going to be spending extra because I'm going to give to this Toys for Tots. So I'm going to give to whatever, because I'm going to give. I know this year, every year, they're going to come around because they need XYZ. Or they want to, teachers, we want to make sure we give the teachers something at the end of the year because, this last 4 months, my kid's been going and I know my kid. So I want to make sure I give a little extra. So I just really want you to plan and prepare. I want you to write it down. I want you to go back and look at it and say, okay, what adjustments do I need to make? Am I on track? Because you might have to say some no's like I did. Because again, you might be saving for that family trip. And you might have to say, you know what? No, there's going to be some cutbacks, or maybe do I need any more clothes? I have clothes. I work from at home. I have clothes that are nicely pressed, sitting in my closet. However, Monday's Pajama Monday. I'm in my pajamas all day on purpose. And I purpose to stay in my house a couple of days a week on purpose. That's my own little thing. So, I mean, unless I'm going somewhere, I'm in sweats, pair of jeans, the same old flip-flops. I'm just saying, so when I go out to the store and peruse, do I really need it? There's a few things maybe not. Now, I'm gonna try to justify. I don't need it. Can I buy it? Yes, but do I need it? I mean, let's just be real. What else could I be investing? I'm not an investor. I ain't working on that. I'm still looking for that person. Let me throw that out there for y'all. I'm just dealing with personal finances, but I just want you to plan. If you know that there's certain things that you do every year and or that you would like to do, just plan it out. Twice a year, I get off the grid. I go to a hotel, I get off the grid, no social media, no phone calls, no nothing, because I need to be in a different environment because I need to hear from God. I need to pull away from all of that stuff. And so I plan it out. I know that I'm going to do this. I know that next year I'm having a monumental birthday and I have to plan that out because for real, I'm going to be spending extra money, even though I was gifted a cruise. So just think about that. Has anybody else been able to gift a cruise to anybody? And I'm saying that because when you're able to get financially free, you can do things for people that they will be amazed. You will be able to do. There was someone that when I say they had a need, and God told me what to do. And I'm so glad I was obedient to God because honestly, I would have just gave him $100. If it was just myself, I'm just being real. The flesh, because it was easy. I'm just gonna be real. But that's not what God told me to do. And I didn't get to see them. I said, could you please give this to this person? And they gave it. And they text me back because they couldn't talk because it takes a lot of energy right now for them to talk. And it says exactly what I gave them. That's what they asked God for. And I know it was a need. And I didn't get financially free so I can just stuff money in my pockets. I'm just saying, and that's where I want all of y'all to get. I want y'all to get healed in your spiritual, because money is spiritual when you really look at it. I want you to get healed in all of these things in your finances and those other areas that we talked about within us that need to get healed, healed from rejection, healed from that man. I mean, abandonment. We can go on and on. I want us to get healed and I want us to be free. But guess what? We got to take responsibility. We made a lot of the choices. We said yes. And we have to own up to those choices. We have to get healed so we can be set free, so we can help others to walk in freedom. Because guess what? It's freeing that mom could now like, I can breathe for a few minutes because somebody heard from God, because they were free. If I wasn't free, I wouldn't be able to do that. I'm just going to keep it real. But guess what? It's been done to me. And we know this reaping and sowing process. I'm not just doing it because I'm doing it out of obedience. So what do we need to be obedient to today when it comes to our finances? God says if you go through the scriptures, it always talks about a plan. You have to have a plan. If you're building and you don't have a plan and you don't finish, people are going to laugh at you. I mean, we can go on and on and on. However, we have to trust God in the process. And I know I got off my notes and all that. I don't even know where they went to. However, tonight, I just want you to be free. And I don't know where everybody is at financially. And I know you're probably making strides in some areas, or you still need healing because you're hurt. You're hurt from how they did me. They didn't put me in the will. I should have got a portion. Mama said, or daddy said they was going to leave me, but the other kids took it and I got nothing. This is real life. Those finances, what I could have got from that man, it would have took me over. But it's a fight. Now you got to go to court. So these different things when it comes to finances, again, this is real life. And I want y'all to be free. And guess what? If you're not free, it's possible to get free. It's definitely possible. I'm a living witness of that. And you can get there too. Does it happen overnight? I'm going to be real. It took 6 years. A lot of people don't tell you that, but I'm going to be real. It took 6 years, y'all. 6 years for some people is a long time. But guess what? I'm way past 6 years now. And it was worth it. It was worth the things that I learned to get to where I am now, to be able to share with you so you can become free. And I took enough of your time. So I'm going to hand it back over to your founder, Sarah, and I thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. Okay, let's see if we can. All right. Hello, everybody. Wow. And I want to say thank you so much, Miss Kim. That was so good. And ladies, if you have any questions or any comments for her, we definitely want to hear them tonight before we conclude. Very quickly, we're just going to present some announcements. So if you're new to Women Heal, we are a 501c3 nonprofit, and we have 4 pillars here: spiritual growth, emotional healing, healthy lifestyle, and financial success. And so tonight's seminar was to empower you financially. And so I know that you are going to leave tonight with confidence, amen, in your finances and in God and what He can do through that. Our next seminar that's similar to this format is going to be October 17th. So mark your calendar. It's about toxic purity culture. We're going to hear from Hannah, and she actually has a platform called Say What. So if you want to look up her podcast, you definitely can do that. And she just talks about her journey with purity culture, church hurt, and like even going into marriage and experiencing very painful sex and how she navigated that. So we're going to have these kind of conversations because we don't usually have them at church, but Women Heal is definitely that place where we have those conversations. And I just wanted to clap it up, clap it up. We've done an amazing work this year so far. We've donated $12,250. We could not have done it without the support of those that give to us. And I want you to know that everything you give is tax deductible. So when it comes to tax season, you can definitely say, hey, I gave this much as donation to a nonprofit organization. And Ms. Kim, she talks about end of year giving, as most people like to do. Definitely consider giving to us. We are 72% of the way to our goal. We are trying to fundraise $13,000 before December so that we're able to do all of our holiday giving for moms that are in need, etc. So definitely keep that in mind. Oh yeah, we won a grant, so we're very excited about that. And if you do want to give tonight, these are the ways that you can give. Imani is going to put everything in the chat, so if I scroll past too fast, that's all right. Everything is in the chat for you. Our Cash App, PayPal, Give Butter. Woo, woo, woo. And one of the services that we also offer to women is free therapy sessions, 4 free therapy sessions. So definitely sign up with us so we can get you those therapy sessions. We partner with BetterHelp to provide that to you. And also life coaching, which is different than therapy. It's more so forward thinking. A lot of times therapy looks at your background, what you've been through, navigating through that. Kind of like Miss Kim was talking about the root, the reason for certain things, why we do what we do. That therapy will definitely help you with that. And then life coaching with Kanai, she is a Christian. She's prophetic. She gonna pray for you. She gonna help you to make goals for the future and definitely to accomplish those goals. And since you've heard about the stuff that we offer, we definitely want you to share our resources with other women that you may know or families. We help with rental assistance, utilities, groceries. Yeah. But if there's another financial need, we won't pay for credit cards, but if there's another financial